I would call this a special edition of Law and Love because it's Law and Love. Pretty much, I'm madly in love, and we both do the law together. But today's going to get really interesting. And I am Mark Breyer, and look at my wife, Alexis Sapphire Breyer. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. You know why?
Why?
Because when we do these podcasts, and I've probably said this before, you don't have your phone with you.
True.
It's just it's like you and me right now. Like you can't email anyone, no text message. It feels uncomfortable, doesn't it?
I'm good.
Are you good?
Yes.
So we've never done anything quite like this one before. So we're bringing on Brett Berry, who is a mentalist, not a mind reader, but a mentalist who we've actually had perform at one. We do these big firm parties every year. It's kind of a way to bring everyone together for fun. And he was there.
Yes.
Freaking people out.
He was.
Did you get to see him that day? Because people know. So it's our whole team. So we spent a lot of time socializing, and Brett was kind of walking around doing his thing. Did you get to see him at all?
I actually did get to see him. I was part of one of the groups, watching him do his Mentalist act.
Do you think it would be hard to like go out to eat with Brett or someone that does this because you're afraid they might like know what you're thinking?
Maybe, yeah.
Because I had never even heard
that would be really bad. Like, think about it. If everyone could know what you're thinking.
I think it would be a problem if I knew what you were thinking.
That would be a really big problem.
But I'm not that deep, so pretty much it wouldn't matter.
Well, I don't think anything too deep thoughts, so you don't have to worry about that. But I think it would be a problem for any husband to know what a wife was thinking.
I think at least for this husband, it may not. It may not be just the Law and Love podcast.
Yeah,
it might be
but Mentalists are really cool. We've been to some shows in Vegas, and like you said, he's been to our firm party, and very excited to have him here, and amazing. Because
the difference is, so I know, of course, I think that they don't actually, read your mind, right? But when I watch, so I love magic shows too, as you know, when we go and we see them. But in effect, it's sleight of hand. I know it's way more than just sleight of hand, but there's something going on that I'm not seeing. And I've never figured out a single trick ever. But this stuff feels impossible. Like they're not just doing something and I can't figure out how they're making me not see what they're doing.
Are you saying they're all magic tricks?
I'm saying this stuff is a level of magic, which I know magic isn't magic. I mean, I know there's a secret behind it, but this stuff blows me away.
I do feel like the Mentalist that we saw prior, it would be hard for it to be magic because we didn't even write anything down.
It's unbelievable.
So if what we see him do is going to be amazing.
And you know what's interesting? We're going to find out today.
Is it really magic?
No, I think we're going to find that out too. All right. Should we bring Brett Berry on?
Yes. Can I ask him to read everything that you're thinking?
I think it'd be best for both of us if we don't ask him to do that. All right. So here we go. Today we have a little bit different show and we're ready. And now we're here with Brett Berry, a mentalist. And these people, what you do, did this even exist like 25 years ago?
It did. It existed 100 years ago.
You're
it really
kidding.
did. Yeah. You've heard of Kreskin? He just passed away. So he used to be on Johnny Carson. This stuff goes back literally hundreds of years, but it's become popular lately.
Yeah.
Which I like. Yeah.
Your story is interesting to me because you didn't at 7 years old go, I am going to perform. Or if you did do that, at some point you took a detour and went into just the regular world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. Yeah, so we share a little bit of a background. By the way, thanks for inviting me, Mark.
No, thanks for being here.
Yeah. It's like, I went to Emerson College in Boston. I lived in Boston. I know your background. I went to your website. You went to BU?
Yes, I did.
All right. Yeah, great school.
She probably couldn't get into Michigan State, so BU's a fallback.
Don't cause trouble. So anyway, I went to Emerson. I was on the radio station there for like 3 or 4 years. WERS. You remember it was all around Boston. Anyway, I ultimately got into real estate. Okay, in Seattle, Washington, and then we moved here same year as I think you guys got here in '96. My wife and I.
We got here December '95, but we were showing up at the same time.
Okay, around the same around the same time, and got my broker's real estate license at the time. My wife was pregnant with our first daughter, Lindis, who is now 27. And so I had a good motivation to pass my broker's exam the first time, which I did. Really good motivation, right? And that was our first. And so I was doing real estate, Mark and Alexis, for 25 years. Did for a long time. And I had been doing real estate before we moved here in '96 in Seattle.
Now, you had been on the radio, which means you did like performing.
I love performing.
But were you performing at all during those years?
No. I'm going to just say this. My dad was a lawyer. My dad was a personal injury lawyer.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Really? What's fun about that?
But you also come from a family of performers.
Yeah.
Did he perform too?
My grandfather was a comedian and actor and cartoon voice artist, Dave Barry. Okay. You can look it up on IMDb. And he was in the movie Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe. Had a good part. He played Beanstalk from the beginning to the end of the movie.
Wow.
And the opening act for Wayne Newton, who at one time was a big deal. Now, not so much. But my grandfather was with Wayne for over 20 years, and he did hundreds of cartoon voices. If you ever see any of the old Warner Brothers Merry Melodies and stuff, my grandfather did voices with Mel Blanc in many of them.
Wow.
So it was really cool. So yeah, it was in my blood. My grandfather, Dave, used to say, "Oh, do you want to do, get an act or show business?" And we'd be like, Papa Dave, no, that's right. Not. But here's the thing, right? So you guys are lawyers. There is an aspect to, I'm sure, when you present yourself to a judge, you're in a courtroom, where you have to understand the theatricality of the situation and the motivation and kind of who's in charge and the reaction of the jury or the audience. So we're all kind of, I think, there's a little showbiz, I think, perhaps in law. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So for sure, jury trials are just a show.
Really?
I mean, yes, it's a search for justice, and you're trying to get after it, and a lot rests on the outcome. I mean, literally, lives rest on the outcome in financial ways, in medical ways, in criminal cases, life and death, time in prison. But in the end, it's still a performance, right? And it still comes down to who do they relate to. And people, the same not be pleased when I say that. See, law is just a game. It's just a performance. There's no way around it. Mm-hmm. The same way I think that people forget that our conversation is still, people go, it's marketing, it's performance, whatever word you want to use. Mm-hmm. Whether someone believes you and connects with you depends so much on your ability to read them and the words you choose and the way you act as you talk to them. It all matters. Totally. And so, but not in the way it does for you.
It doesn't. But, I took a detour from real estate, 25 years. I had, at one time, I think I had 6 or 7 people working for me. The last 5 years of it was knocking on doors to tell people they had lost their home. Yeah, 5 years of that, 7 days a week. People don't like to think about it now. It's a downer. I lived through it. And I kind of had, during that time, to reinvent myself, because if you remember that time, there was no other business in Phoenix other than knock, knock, knock. And, what are your plans in the next 30 days? And I had to learn about bank properties. I worked for every hedge fund, every bank. I was very compassionate, but I had to survive during that time.
Right.
And it was at that time where I thought, no, I'm not loving this business like I used to. 25 years. So my daughters, can I tell you the story real quick?
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Okay. Daughters. Now you guys
it's a terrible part of the story.
It is. But you know what? Everything, there is a Yiddish word called beshert, when something's meant to be. So I think everything's beshert. My kids were getting a tennis lesson, both of them. And I was always doing magic and stuff like that for the kids, because I'd been doing magic since I was like 11 or 12 years old as a hobby. And I was doing some little tricks for the kids. And one of the moms comes up to me and says, hey, do you think you could perform at my husband's Christmas party? Now, I had never considered this. Was after, 4 years of knocking on doors, telling people. And I said, perhaps. She says, what do you charge? I said, well, I'm going to get back to you. You know, I mean, I knew how to answer. I had not even considered it, I swear. So I ended up performing for that company party. I had put together a bunch of stuff. And then I thought, maybe there's a way where I can make this my business.
And you loved it, though.
I loved it because it's a giving thing. I don't know you guys super well. I did a party for you about a year and a half ago. But I think people can see through when you're not being authentic. People know, that you're not just in something for the money. And I think that I was losing that passion when I was in real estate because I loved helping people. I really did. But so I started taking classes in Las Vegas to learn more about how to be a good mentalist. Now, wait, why mentalist rather than magic, right? Because it allowed me, it's kind of like being a personal injury lawyer rather than being a general purpose lawyer, I guess. I could charge different fees. I could be seen differently. I could market myself differently. And that's kind of why I chose it. And what I could see is when I did it, it had a really strong effect on people instead of just being like, oh, wow, people sometimes scream, So that was cool.
Yes.
So I took classes in Vegas. It's called the Jeff McBride Master Mentalist classes. He's a famous guy. And it's like a Hogwarts school, basically. And
how many people are in the class with you?
Okay, so that's a good question, Mark. So let's say there's 20 people in the class and from all over the world. Alexa. So you could have people from Malaysia, you could have people from Belgium, and there were, and everywhere. And interesting aspect, one of the guys in many of the classes was one of the ex-directors of the CIA. I'm not kidding. This is what he does for fun with his friends. So, it took a few years to get to know this gentleman,
right?
Who also is a professor at Johns Hopkins. I'll just say that. But
he's carried a huge weight his whole career, and now he does this. Yeah. Like, what a fun, different way to do it.
And it's a hobby for him, right? It's not like a business, like for me, it's a business. But he is just passionate about it. And when you're studying, with people like that, we kind of share secrets with each other because it's about secrets.
Right.
If I may say, the difference between magic, like a magic trick, because you guys mentioned that, I think, at the opening, right? And mentalism. For me, a mentalist is like being a psychological illusionist. That's what I would call it. I will be the first to tell you, can I say that, what I do is a lie. I do not claim to be psychic. I am not psychic. I ain't going to walk on water. No. But if I can entertain you and, connect with you, which is what you said, then I'm happy because I want to connect with people. Because it's really about, you're thinking about the name of your first pet, for example, or maybe a friend or something like that. Speaking of that, I'm going to ask both of you right now to just think of something, and maybe in a few minutes, I think you have a pet that you could think of that was close to you.
Uh-huh.
Now, just so we know, he doesn't necessarily know the pet that you're thinking of. Is that right, Alexis? Is that right? Or he might.
Yeah.
But would anyone else here, would these people on your crew know the name of the pet you're thinking of? Not necessarily. Probably not. Okay. I'll come back to it in a moment. And then, Mark, I'd like you to think about a client that maybe you're thinking about now, or maybe at top of mind. Now, I went to your website and I was fascinated to see that you actually litigate your own cases. Is that correct?
Yeah, trying cases is still a passion of mine.
Wow. Okay. So I don't know anything, but can you think of someone that you're working with right now, first name only, that's at top of mind? Okay, good. I'm going to come back to this in a minute or two. But everything that I do is kind of about process. I'm guessing that when people come in, by the way, I listened to a few of your podcasts before I came on the show.
She's great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's
Law
awesome.
and Love. It's cool. Yeah. Now,
Were
guys.
they good?
They were good.
Which ones did you listen to?
I listened to
you can't put him on the spot like
Alexis,
that. That's just
That's so
wrong.
I know
If you're
who
going to do
we
this to me, I'm
listen
going
to.
to...
The meanest thing I've ever seen you do.
Let me just say, I listened, I believe, to the first and second
Okay.
of
Why
your
is that
podcast.
mean?
What?
He's a mentalist.
The way, guys, there was one where you guys, how you first met. I listened to that one.
Right.
Was that an early one?
That was early.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was cute. It was cute. It was really cute. So I listened to that, and how you guys met and all of that. But I feel like people decide if they want to work with you within a minute or two, right? So, and I'm guessing when you speak to a client, you're probably ascertaining also whether you're going to be able to achieve their needs or attain what they're looking for, right? So it's a mutual.
It all goes back to what you said. In trial, the funny thing is it's a performance, but it's a performance to show credibility, right? So it's an odd combination. And it's the same thing you're saying. When I'm talking to someone and they're talking to me, they're, first impressions, that importance of primacy, the first important thing they see, they need to know if they're going to trust me or trust her or trust us. And the same thing we're doing when we're meeting someone and when we meet people all day. So it's odd to say credibility and a performance, but I actually think they go together.
They do go together. I've had a moment to kind of get my wheels turning a little bit. Let me see if I can try and pick up on, I brought a few little things, but I want to see if I could just pick up on the name of the client you're thinking of. By the way, before I get to that, what's with the suspenders? Am I the first to ask? Because I used to wear suspenders years ago, and they're awesome.
It is. So it's funny because now it's like this, I wear suspenders thing, right? So in the 80s, like when Wall Street was out, these things were in.
I wore them.
They were in.
I always wore them.
They were the look. And when I was that age, I have a cousin who's 10 years older than me, and I was like, thought he was super cool. And one time he came to some family event, he was wearing suspenders. I was like, wow, that looks really cool, right? So then, by the time I was old enough to be in the workforce, these things no one was wearing them. But I still thought they were cool. So I started wearing them. Now at the time, we weren't doing any advertising. I was just the only person still wearing outdated suspenders. Fast forward 30 years, I'm still the only person wearing these outdated suspenders, and I love the look. And I actually am now at the point, Brett, where I honestly hope they don't come back, because because now with all the marketing, people they notice it because no one's wearing them.
Yeah, right.
If they ever come back, I'll just blend in.
Yeah, I love them. My wife will tell you, I've been married 31 years, so my wife is Norwegian. We just actually got back from Norway and the UK about 5 days ago. But I think she used to dig them when I wore them in the, let me think, in the 90s. I was wearing them.
You could still get away with it.
I got away with it.
Right.
But I can, you know what? I actually bought a pair of them. I was going to wear them today, but then I realized, like the way to really do it is to put the buttons in the pants and to do it like where you, because the ones I bought on Amazon had those clips on there. I was like, this is going to look stupid. So I'm not wearing them, but I bought some in tribute to you.
Did you try them on?
No, because I want to do it right, man. So, right. But now I know you don't want everyone. I'm not going to like emulate you because this is your thing, but I do think it's kind of a fun thing to do this as band.
It is. What I really loved was vests that go with a 3-piece suit, but it's just too hot here. So that
Alexis, did you used to think it was? I mean, when you first met him, do you say, "Oh, that's kind of sexy"?
He didn't wear them until.
No, because we met in law school.
Yeah,
so I wasn't
we met in law
up.
school, so he wasn't dressing up.
I was still T-shirts and jeans.
I was like, whatever.
She doesn't care.
Whatever.
He has an uncle who passed away recently, but he always had a signature thing, which was he wore red socks. So I think from the very beginning, Mark has always wanted to stand out in a different way. So even though I think you like suspenders, I think it also
I like
was
red socks too, but I can't steal it from Uncle Jerry.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
No, he doesn't wear the red socks. That's only for Uncle Jerry.
Every once in a while when we're with that side of the family,
all right,
a bunch of us will throw on red socks.
All right, I've had enough time. I want to see if you can think about the name of this client. Now, is this a client that you've been working with for a number of months, the one that you're thinking about right now?
Yes.
A number of months?
Yes.
Okay. Is it still in process right now? It is still in process. This is not, you haven't had a settlement, no settlement meeting yet, but the person's top of mind. Can you picture what this person looks like right now, just in your own mind?
Yes.
Think about the first name only. Think about the last letter of the name, please. Just think about the last letter of the first name.
Got it.
Actually, I think I got the first letter. Was the first letter in M like Mary? First First letter.
You ever
M.
know? You know you're being set up. Yes, the first letter is M like Mary.
Yeah, go ahead.
But
Yeah.
after you guess, I'm going to guess.
Oh, okay.
You can't do it
You can't
afterwards
do it
because he'll already have it.
I can write it down, the name.
We could.
Well, you have to write it down now then, you
Wait.
cheater.
Okay.
Well, this is really interesting because they've been together for a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. And just like with my wife and I, like we can complete each other's sentences, right?
Exactly.
And this is kind of like why when people get, husband and wife law team, they're getting 2 for 1.
You can complete
That's
each other's
true.
sentences because for us, I never know what she's thinking. I can't complete a word, a sentence,
He
a
speaks
paragraph.
a different
I don't know
language to
what
me.
she's thinking ever.
Yes.
She knows. But so that's very cool. That'd be a really good relationship if it worked both ways.
Yeah. Well, we kind of know, who's really in control. So who's in charge? And Alexis is going to nod her head. Think about the first letter of the first name that was an M.
Yep.
And then think about the last letter, please. Actually, I think I got the second letter that was, okay. The second letter. Can you think about the third letter, please? That was a C? Is that right? I'll be out of your head, Mark, in just a moment.
Thank you. That'd be great.
All right. I'll promise here. Now, this is...
Just so you know, I already know what the name is.
Good. All right. Don't say anything. Look over towards the law and love there. I'm just going to show it to the camera here right now. Is that camera on, Steve? Okay. In a nice, clear voice, what is the name you probably... How many clients do you have right now? I'm just curious.
Oh, we have thousands of clients for our team.
Right.
For our team. The
But you
reason
have
we have
one
a team
in mind. What is the first name of the person you're thinking of right now, please?
Michael.
Just look at me like this. Is
Just
that right?
like that, yes.
Thank you so much. You're awesome, Michael. By the way, I just want to tell you something weird, which is that if you call Michael in the next day or so, he's going to say, Mark, I was just thinking about you. It is so weird that you call. I'm just telling you. I'm just saying. Now, it's very interesting. Now, you have the name of a pet in mind. Can I just ask, was this a pet that you had more in your teens or 20s than you did before? Or was this a later time in your life? Or was this before 15 years old, the pet you're thinking of? Was this a dog, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
We only have dogs.
this was
as
not a
pets.
reptile. I mean, that was
wasn't.
I'm just asking.
Not a reptile.
Wasn't a reptile. Yeah.
Oh, we did have a little hamster growing up.
okay.
But that's not
Didn't
the one you
last
were
long.
thinking of.
Dr. Beasley.
Okay. Don't say the name of this pet, but how old were you when you had the pet you're thinking of? Please say it. How old? Around 15?
I was probably probably like 12 to 18.
Okay, so the time range I gave you was kind of right, like between 15 and 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
Was it did you help to name the pet? Was it you that helped to name the pet? Or was it named earlier?
No, we did name the pet as a family.
As a family, because I almost see you, Alexis, sitting down, I don't know if it was your mom or someone, to help to name the pet, coming up with maybe what you thought was a bit of a cute name. Is that right?
I was with my mom because no one else really cared.
But she wanted
But
this
the women
dog.
of the family are controlling, so we needed to make
Really,
sure.
I've never noticed that.
We agreed on the name of the pet.
Yeah,
Yes.
my fee goes up for therapy. I'm just saying. So, no, I'm kidding. So, how many were in your family, by the way? Not 8, right?
No, I had 2 brothers. I have 2 brothers.
Okay.
Mark has 2 sisters.
2 sisters.
Yes.
But now you have 8 beautiful kids.
We have 4 boys and 4 girls
Wow.
because, and you might have saw
Yeah,
this.
what's the because?
Because, well, part of the because is because when I was growing up, my brothers had a brother and a sister. And I always thought that was unfair because I only had brothers and I always wanted a sister. So I said, I'm going to try to have like 2 and 2, or so that all my kids have a brother and a sister.
Okay.
So you need to
We
have
should
at
have
least
met
4.
earlier. When I was young, I wanted
for
to give
that.
my sisters away.
Yeah.
You want to give your sisters away?
Yeah, if we had met earlier, you could have.
I'm sure that people ask. I'm going to get to the name of the pet in a second because the more that I speak with you, it's kind of helping me a bit to learn about you because we've really, beyond the party that was almost 2 years ago, we've never talked. We've not set this up.
Yes.
It's not a set up deal.
But I do want to ask you, wasn't
Yes,
our
please.
party the best party ever?
Well, I don't know how much you want to disclose about your parties, but I mean, you can see Mark breakdancing, you know.
Yep.
I mean, you know, spinning around. I mean, this is not just something for Instagram. I mean, you know, it's a heck of a
You witnessed that in person.
I saw it. Yeah, it's a real thing.
Probably hard to get over that.
It wasn't CGI. It's what I saw. Can I ask you, was this pet a smaller pet? This wasn't like a 200-pound dog. It was like 30, 40 pounds, 20, 30, 40. Was it
smaller pet?
Smaller pet. Mm-hmm. Less than 20 pounds? Or about 20, 30 in that range, about 30 pounds?
It's always so hard to figure out how much a dog weighs.
Okay. I'm not seeing it.
They usually use a scale.
No, I know, but I never weighed my pet.
Okay.
So I'm going to say 20 pounds.
20 pounds. Okay. So
right in the middle of what you said.
Okay. This is weird. Okay. Maybe I may completely faceplant this. Think of the name, and could you just reach over a little and touch my hand and think of the name. I'm going to reach over here. Just hold on. Just touch my hand. Think of the name now. Almost like you see it on a movie screen. Okay, that's perfect. And I'm almost seeing like an object that has something to do with this name, like something that like the pet was named after an object. Does that make sense to you? Mm-hmm. Okay. Think about the last letter. Okay, you know what? I'm going to just write down what I'm getting here. I'm seeing some almost like a shape. Is there a shape that has something to do with this pet? Almost like a circular shape. Does that make sense to you? Okay. All right. So this is so weird.
Yeah, that's what happens when they name it.
All right. So Alexis, nice clear voice. What was the name of your pet? I'm committed and I may faceplant. What's the name of the pet you're thinking of?
Frisbee.
We got Frisbee.
Yay!
Was it Frisbee? It was
Yes.
Frisbee.
It was Frisbee.
And we actually,
I knew you'd be thinking
I
of Frisbee.
actually sat with my mom. I remember this in her room, my parents' room.
Wow.
And we went through a dictionary and we tried to find a good name for the dog.
Brett, I did not know that story. I didn't know how you ended up.
Was there a
with Frisbee.
time when this dog got out at one point? You know what I'm talking about? The dog. I'm not saying like dangerous,
Yeah.
but there was a time when the dog did get out. Does that make sense to you?
You know, a lot of our dogs did get out. I don't remember specifically if Frisbee got out, but our first dog used to get out. And I used to say, if they're going to leave, like, they should just leave because we're like so good to them. Why would they just leave?
Mark shaking his head.
We had this repeatedly.
We had this conversation.
Kenzie
They would like
run.
dart out of the house.
Kenzie would run, and we'd try to catch her. And normally we'd catch her. We couldn't always catch her. A couple times, I remember one time, our oldest was crying. Everyone was afraid.
Yes.
And she found her way home, and she was all good. But while she was gone, because we didn't catch her, Alexis sitting there going, you know, if Kenzie doesn't appreciate us.
There was one time, this is the weirdest thing. There was one time Kenzie, who's a big black lab, got out. And she went to another home that had a big black lab.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember that? And then,
We got a call, right?
yeah. And then they thought
how
at
long
first,
ago was this?
This is many years ago.
Okay, all
Probably
right.
like 20.
They put our
Years
dog
ago.
in their yard.
They put our dog in their yard. And then they were like, wait, we have your dog.
Well, at least
So-
they told you because
Right, it was nice.
Yeah,
I know,
They were
right?
trying to avoid a lawsuit.
Because
let's be
Kenzie was
honest, yeah.
awesome, and I would have sued for Kenzie. I would have absolutely
for this
sued.
beautiful dog.
Beautiful dog.
So yeah, Frisbee and an interest. That's an interesting name for a dog. I feel like dog people kind of like know each other. Like I love all animals. Reptiles, I don't know, but I love all
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
That was very interesting, by the way. The last guest with the chuckwalla and stuff.
I was starting to like Lorenzo the Chuckwalla.
Lorenzo looked very attached.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say he was like, I want to stay with
I think
Mark.
Lorenzo, I honestly think, Lorenzo, you talk about energy.
Yeah.
Lorenzo could feel my positive reptile energy. Or not.
Yeah. He was saying like, this is a guy that would fight for his clients. right?
That was his way of doing it. That's right.
Exactly. Can I try one more thing with both of you?
Yeah, but I have a question.
Oh, go
first,
ahead, please,
Because
anything.
something I wondered after you said it, and I was like, I don't know if I should interrupt, but
Sure, interrupt.
in anything, this is my opinion. So I'm wrong pretty frequently, but I believe that talent is real, and we all have talent for different things.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes what we want to be good at isn't what we're always good at.
Totally.
And I believe, you know, Larry Bird has a great quote that good shooters are made, great shooters are born. And what I understand of that quote is you always have to work hard to be great at anything. But no matter how hard you work, if you are not born with that gift to be a shooter, you can be good. You can become you will never be great. 20 people, however many people you started that class with, wanted to do what you now do. But not everyone's born with the talent to do it. By the time they get to that class, are they all people who have it? Or was it pretty clear throughout the process that not everyone here is going to be able to do this?
It's totally what you say. I've got 2 daughters, right? My daughters are 25 and 27. And I've given the same exact advice that you just said to my daughters, which is take your natural God-given abilities. Everybody has abilities, all right? And then work with those. Because that will allow you, as you said with Larry Bird and all that, to really be, if you want to be great at what you do. And when I've taken these classes, I've taken the classes for 12, 13 years now. Listen, there are people who just take the class because they're curious about it. And they're just, screwing around.
Right.
And then there's people who are now doing some big stuff. I mean, like really big stuff, which I love to see. But not everybody has those God-given gifts. So to answer your question, this mentalism, the performance stuff that I do, to me, has been a harder gig and comes to me a little bit less naturally than the real estate thing that I did for 25 years. I mean that.
Fascinating.
It's true. It's been a harder. Here's the thing. I always use an analogy of, and I'm not into martial arts, but black belt. When I did my real estate for 25 years, I was, high degree black belt. Matter of fact, I was an expert witness for quite a few lawyers in town. Really.
Interesting.
And I loved that. I really loved it. I enjoyed it a lot. To be at that level is really fun to be. It was harder for me to move to that level with this. It's hard to explain. One other thing I'll say is I have a greater appreciation for my grandfather, Dave Barry, the comedian, than I did before I got into showbiz. He passed in 2002, my grandfather. And I wish I could just tell him, like, hey, man, I'm doing it now. Like,
right.
This is it. Like, I know what it's like to get in front of an audience of 100 people or 500 or 1,000 people sometimes. And sometimes the audience is kind of tough. Sometimes, I bet it's like a jury, Mark. I don't know, or Alexis, right? You ever have a jury and you're like, this is going to be a little bit of a tough jury here. Right?
The juries are the worst in this way. They are actually told in many counties to not show reaction. Mm-hmm. On top of that, it's their I think it's the natural inclination of everyone. I'm on a jury, I'm not going to show my reaction. So trying to read people who are intentionally trying to not be read. So, and I don't think there's anything devious about that. It's, hey, my job is to sit here and judge, and I shouldn't show you who I like or what I believe. Mm-hmm. And so, but yes, there are times where you get the feeling that, I just feel that these people are hearing what I'm saying. Doesn't mean it's always going to end well, but they heard me. And there are times you're like, I'm knocking on what I'm doing does not feel like it's resonating. And it's worse in what you do in this way, because a crowd is either oohing and eyeing or they're just sitting on their hands.
Well, and here's the thing. I literally only have a minute or 2 or 3 to win them over. And I've got to win them over. I've got to win them. I mean, it's winning, right? Like you're winning a case. I've got to win the audience over. It's easier for me to do it in a one-on-one mingling situation, but I've got a whole audience. Some people have had a few too many drinks. Some people are tired. They just arrived. It's a corporate event. I do a lot of corporate work. So to win the audience over is hard, and you have to adjust like a chameleon. Back to the reptile analogy. You have to adjust.
Right.
And I'm sure that's similar to what I'm guessing what you guys do is the need to adjust on the fly. Because if the audience, this is a sales thing, right? So I had this 25-year sales background. It doesn't matter what you're selling. If people like you, they want to work with you, and at least you have an opportunity. The door is open a little bit. Doesn't mean they're going to stay working with you, but the door is opened, and people, you need to connect with them authentically.
I think that last word has become a bigger and bigger part of what people trust. There's such a lack of authenticity that people crave it, right? And to your point of adjusting, like Alexis is, I've said everyone who works, Alexis is the best negotiator I've ever seen. But when she trains people, she talks like you can't just come at someone. Here's what I want. What are they saying? She'll come home and she'll say to me, this person said this word, and that's when I knew X. and she'll change everything she was going to do because she heard the word or the tone that the people said it in, and it changes everything. It's such a mistake when we don't know our audience, right? And we're not listening. But at least if she does it, it's usually in a one-on-one negotiation setting. You're standing up there for the next, whatever it is, 35 minutes. And if you don't get them in those first 3 minutes, you're like, now what?
Well, it's like an upstream battle. I mean, I don't want to say battle, but it's you're swimming upstream, and it's harder.
You got to pull out a different
something
sequence or something. Well, I have a different question to
Please.
tangent for 1 second, based upon what you said upon the teaching. So I know you said you went to Vegas. Like, how long is that for? And do you always do you go back to the same place?
We're at 13 years now.
I know. That's why I was just wondering, like, when you go to these
classes,
like, how long are they? And then do you always go back to Vegas, or is it more, how does that work?
Yeah, so it's actually in a home, believe it or not, the mystery school. People, if they have an interest in magic or mentalism, you can look up the McBride Mystery School. And it's always in the same place. And the people who come, I would say like 90% every year, 85% are many times the same. But there's different, some people come in and out. There was a very famous guy named Eugene Berger, who was a very famous magician that recently passed away. And he was one of the professors, the teachers at the school, like a legendary person. He passed away a few years ago, but I just feel honored. And there's usually 3 or 4 instructors, and one guy specializes in theater. One guy specializes in mentalism. So there's different aspects. I'm sure you guys do yearly training. You go to, right?
Yeah, we do quarterly.
Yeah.
Right, quarterly
And then
training
some,
and with your staff. So you got to keep up with what's happening. And for a lot of the work I do, I compare this also real quick to cooking. I'm a cook. Do either of you cook? Either cook in the house, and you have no time.
No, but
yeah.
Mark just learned how to make a special.
What are you making?
It's offensive.
Okay. Tell them what you
cook.
learned how to make.
Pico de gallo.
Ooh, I love pico de gallo.
Yeah.
With a little jalapeno. You spice it up.
So that a ton of jalapeno, and I've now made it 3 times.
Good.
And so far it's not quite right. But I'm working on it, right?
Right.
Well, it was right enough for you to
I consumed
eat a lot
all
of
of it. It's because I always like pico anyway. And then the idea, we were somewhere and he was making it, and I was like, this is amazing. He put in jalapeno. He put in a bunch of, and I was like, what is this flavor? But I think I think it was just, I think he had more jalapeno than most pico has.
Yeah.
And it just spiced up.
Yeah. You and I are going to get along real well on the pico de gallo, because my wife being from Norway, she's like, she sees that, jalapeno. She's like, don't do it. Don't do it. And I'm like, well, but I like it. So then cut it up, put it on the side. And it's interesting because some peppers are like, they're not that spicy. Like you have to just.
It wasn't that spicy though.
No, if you keep the seeds out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, every jalapeno is different, right? But the jalapenos that I've had these first 3 batches, a little more spice would actually be good, but they're good, right? They're not killing you.
Yeah. The interesting thing for me is mentalism is a lot like cooking. So once you figure out like what are the components, the ingredients, you understand how they work, then you can understand how they can play together and combine in different ways to create something maybe that feels new. But it's really not new. It's just the way that you've combined them. And that to me is what's interesting. I'm also a creator of things that are used by mentalists and magicians. So I create things as a consultant and tools. And that started around 2015. It's been very interesting. It's like different streams of income, So that has been, and I'm, just mentioning that. My oldest daughter always gets angry when I mention that because she's like, you shouldn't say that. But it is it's just part of who I am.
What's the downside to that? I mean, we're all great at different things.
Yeah, but I live in a world of secrets, right? So, I created something, slight humble brag here. My phone rang in 2019 and David Copperfield called, God bless him. I had met him before, but and he had asked me if I could consider creating something, and I did. That he uses in a very, I can't even say more. But
Right.
But you became like my wife for 3 or 4 months. And I will just say it was a fascinating process. And none of that would have been possible if I hadn't made that career change.
How cool to watch.
It was
one of the biggest names in the history of magic, right? Or at least the modern history of magic. I can't go beyond that. Work and perform something you helped him create.
Yeah, he uses it in a special way. It was just a real blast to do that and to have someone that, was like my mentor, grew up on TV. And now he called, during that 3 months or so, my phone's ringing 4 or 5 times a day. Sometimes at midnight, I'm looking at the phone. I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll answer it.
Right.
But I go to sleep before midnight usually. But it was a fascinating process, and I'll never forget it. When
I was a kid, he made the Statue of Liberty disappear, which I didn't watch the show, and I've always wondered what happened.
I want to do something with you guys real fast.
You brought it back.
I do have something I'm going to do with you with a deck of cards. It's not.
We're ready.
You're ready, but how much time do we have right now, Steve? Are we good on time? Okay. I'm going to bring this out in a second. I want to do a little mind reading thing right now. Mark, if I asked you right now to quickly give me a word, any word, quickly, give me a word, quickly.
Because.
Okay. Now, I would say that may not be the most interesting word. It's a good word.
You didn't ask for the most interesting word. You said ask for a word.
Right. Well, here's what's interesting. When I drive, I see your billboards, it seems like everywhere. Right? Which is great.
It's because they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. And I love that. And I love it even more because I've had the chance to meet you before, once before, and then it reminds me of it. But you have a little piece of my mind share, which is what it is, right? You have mind share now. So, and I have said to people that if I ever had a law situation, I'm calling you guys. I mean that. I'm not just saying that. I'm authentically saying.
Nice. I hope you never need us.
I hope I never need you, but I might refer you to someone or something. But I would do that just because I feel that way. I'm not just saying that. But the word "because" you gave may not be that unique because maybe it's at the top of your mind. It's kind of an in-between word. We're going to use a book. Alexis, I'm going to move my microphone here. Would you just verify? I'm throwing that over to you. Catherine Coulter Blowout. Just look through the book. Make sure it's a real book. Just flip through it. It's a real book.
Look at how she inspects it.
It's a real book.
I haven't looked at a real book in a while.
It's been a minute.
Also, I don't have my glasses on.
It's okay.
My daughter.
We just need you to confirm it's a real book.
It's a real book.
I'm just looking.
Lots of different words. It's a real book. Real book.
I'm detailed.
Okay, but
I like perfection.
Good. These guys are like yin and yang here. All right. So I need you to just pull a little bit forward and bring your microphone forward. Would you just verify? Let me just move here. Well, this thing moves a lot here. Can you verify? Oh, do you need cheaters or glasses?
No. As long as I can hold it this way.
Okay. Can you see the first word on the upper left? Just make sure you can see the words.
I see it.
And verify that it's not the same word repeated.
Different word.
Different words.
Different
words. Every page. I'm gonna flip through it, Mark. You tell me where to stop. All right.
Stop.
Okay. Look at the first word here.
Okay.
Alexis, I don't want you to see it. Did you see the word?
No.
Okay. Remember the word. Hard
Got
word
you.
like Mississippi or a little bit easier?
A little bit easier.
Thank God. I want you to find a longer, harder word anywhere in the book, Alexis, more than 8 letters, a little bit longer, right? And this is for you. So each of you will have a word in your mind. And I'm going to go back to where I was. Bring the mic. Find, anywhere. You could look anywhere in the book. Just open the book. And
find a hard word.
By the way, Alexis, if you need your glasses, you can take mine. I'm going to give these to you. Do you need? They'll look good on you.
They would
I'm just saying. They would look good.
Those would look good on
These are
you.
LAI works.
Yep.
I am like -7 3/4.
Oh, wow. Can you? Okay.
You want me to find a word
nice long word.
a hard word?
Yeah, a little bit longer, maybe more than 8 letters, and then close the book up.
Do I need to know what page it's on?
No, just remember the word, and then just in your mind, don't forget the word.
Okay.
You both have a word in mind. Just put the book over here. We don't need it. All I need is your minds. I'm going to start with her. He's very complicated. Not that you're not complicated, but he's.
I'm actually the more complicated one.
Not when it comes to mind reading, because I'm like a rock. You can't get through this.
All right. Imagine you're sitting in a movie theater. You see that big movie screen. Think about the first letter of your word. Okay, I think I got this here. What is the first letter of the word you're thinking of, please? First letter of the word.
I.
No, it's okay. Am I allowed to say that on this podcast?
Yes.
Okay.
We can beep
I was
it
gonna
out.
say. Oh, okay.
Right.
I got an L. That was not the first letter of your word. That was not the first letter. Did you change your mind? Did you have another word and you changed to an I word? No.
Do you want me to answer you more?
I'm going to take it that it's probably a no. I'm going to take that as a no. I'm just reading you right now. Did you change your mind? Did you have another word in mind? You changed.
I didn't change my mind.
Uh-huh.
I did initially look at another word, but I didn't change my mind.
Okay, that's fine.
But
was that the first letter of your word, Mark?
That was the first letter of my word.
Are you serious?
It's true.
Well, this is what happens with the husband and wife law team. So you guys crossed wires. This is what happens.
That's what happens.
It's what happens. Are you serious? But this was the first letter of your word, yes?
Would I lie to you, Brett?
No, you would never lie. Okay. Think about whether this word is positive or negative. Just think about it.
I'm already there.
I'm watching your hands. You're kind of going up,
now
so
I'm
that
not
means
move
positive.
Again. It is, yeah.
It is. It's a positive word. Is your word laugh, L-A-U-G-H? Was that your word?
Yeah, that's my word.
Okay.
That's my word. See how complicated I am?
It's very complicated.
Can't get through this.
L-A-U-G-H. Good. L-A-U-G-H, laugh. All right, now you've got a harder word. I feel like this word maybe has something to do with something you did in your life or something. I don't understand. Think of the last letter. I got the first letter. We know that was an I, but the second letter was an L. Does that make sense to you? Second letter was an L.
Uh-huh.
And I'm seeing a shape that has almost something to like rectangle or something like that. A square or a rectangle. I don't understand what that means. Just think about seeing that word. Okay, I think I may have this here. It was definitely not Frisbee that you're thinking of.
I'm going to need to look at that book again.
Now you're trying to decide whether it's plural or not plural, but that doesn't really matter.
Cheater.
For the first time,
you're trying to decide if it's plural or not. That's just wrong. Make a decision. You're setting him up.
Decide.
You are, because he said you are.
And I may faceplant. What was the word that's in your mind? Say the word, please.
Illustration.
Like this?
Illustration. Look,
it was
at
illustration.
It was.
Yeah.
It was
I'm getting no reaction here. So
I don't understand why they don't appreciate
I'm a
that.
hard one.
I'm going to be honest.
Tough.
That was ridiculous. That was, and it bothers me a little bit, but that was ridiculous.
Do you remember what the page number?
That actually is pretty amazing. I will
Thank
give you
so
that.
much. I'll
Just pretty. See how this is what she does. That's only pretty amazing. Yeah. I don't know what you want. I've known you my whole life, and that's only pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
I'm going to ask you, how much time have we got right now? Can you just give me a number?
6
we
minutes.
got 6 minutes.
That is amazing.
6 minutes, Doug.
Do we have time to try kind of the bigger thing I wanted to try with you guys?
If you can do it in 6 minutes,
I can do it.
I'm down.
I could do it.
Yeah,
man.
you
I can do it.
6 minutes. Right?
I've never.
It will not get better than that.
Yeah. When I'm about to show you, it's not mind reading, but I thought it would be interesting to do a wager. A wager for a good cause. A wager with what's going on right now in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank.
Yes, we are filming this because I don't know when people are going to get to see it, but we're filming it as the fires are still.
Yeah.
It's the insanity of what's going on for the poor people of LA.
Okay. So are you good with a small wager of, let's say, $500 as a donation to Los Angeles Regional Food Bank, or if you have a better cause that you feel is more worthy, I'm willing to pay, or you're willing to pay.
Brett,
you want me to take this down just a little? Good.
Brett, there's not a better cause right now than the people of LA.
Yeah,
but here's the thing. I want you to know something.
Okay.
So what you did at our party, people still talk about. Okay? Still comes up. Wow. It's amazing. What I've seen you do, the illustration, being able to read her mind. I don't know what she's talking about ever. But I want you to know something. Because it's a wager.
Yeah.
I'm locking in now.
Okay.
I'm focusing.
Okay.
On
all right.
And I'm not going to let you off easy. I intend to win.
Okay.
So I just want you to be. I just want you to. Not like I didn't give you laugh.
Yeah.
But I didn't steel cage it.
Right.
But I'm steel caging it.
Okay. Good. Steel cage. Okay. So the key with this is compliance, following directions. Deck of cards taken from the Palms Hotel. They're cut on the corners. The reason is because once you've used a casino deck, they can't be used again. Does that make sense? I see him nodding his head. You play cards a little bit, Mark?
I mean, a very little bit, but today I'm about to win.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Now, I'm going to say that you guys go all in for your clients, so I'm going to ask you to go all in on this little experiment right now.
All right.
Lots of different cards. The first part of the process is I'm going to cut the cards here. I'll give them a cut.
Okay.
Nice clean cut. It's a little bit hard on this table. Sorry. And a little cut here. I'm going to give you an option right now. How many times would you like me to cut the deck right now? Just how many cuts?
Well, based upon how long it took you to do that time, I'll say just 2.
2. Okay, so we're going to do a couple
With this
more.
particular surface, let's keep it at a limited number.
Okay, so we'll do 2 more cuts. That's 1 and 2. Yeah, it's what we got here. The surface. Okay, 2 cuts. And by the way, I'm not a card expert, and this is not going to be sleight of hand, just so you know.
All right.
If you would reach over and try and cut the deck somewhere around the middle, close to the middle, please.
You want to handle this?
I'm going to just put them over here. Just try and cut the card somewhere in the middle, please, and put that other half off to the side.
Listen, the world is watching a $500 wrestling.
Get going, Mark. Go. No,
you want me to do it?
I want you to do it. Yeah, is that okay? So just take about half, what you feel is about half, and just put them here. Keep those cards in your hand right now. Take them all. And I want you to count those cards in one pile, face down, and count them out loud. So you're going to count the cards face down out loud. Go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah. 1. Go on. There's 52 cards a deck. Go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2.
Who counts that way?
Go on.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 34 cards.
34 cards. All right.
Not quite half. A little more than half.
You like still count groups of 10?
I'm going to ask you if you would right now, Mark, to watch me like hawk. Now, if the cards were any kind of particular order, right? This type of a shuffle, a riffle shuffle, will break everything.
Correct.
Correct?
I would agree with that.
Watch me like a hawk. Okay? Shuffled, right?
Yep.
Is that right?
Including my 34 cards. And with the other 18. Boom.
Exactly. Boom. I didn't know you were going to pick 34. You didn't know you were going to pick 34. The cards have been shuffled. Take the cards right now in your hand. Keep them. Deal 2 cards face down, 1 and 2. Keep them together as a pile. Yep. And I'm going to say, Mark, that these 2 cards consist of a red and a black card. Would you be impressed? Would you go all in on that kind of bet? No, probably not.
So after seeing that, but I would say statistically you're wrong.
Okay, so it's red and a black.
Right.
Deal 2 more cards, if you would, face down in a different pile.
Okay.
1 and 2. Deal 2 more cards face down, 1 and 2. I'm going to say, Mark, that this consists of red and black, and this pile is red and black as well. I have to be right on everything.
Yeah. So far, you're probably already in trouble.
Okay, I'm already in trouble.
The $500 you give to the food bank is a beautiful thing.
Right. So if I lose this, if I miss one of these, I'm going to give the $500 to the food bank.
Which I think is kind of you.
Yes, thank you. But if I get all of them right, you give. Okay. Now, 2 more cards here, another pile. Yep. 2 more cards here, another pile. 2 more cards here. I'm going to say this one, Mark and Alexis, is red and black, red and black, and red and black. I have to be right on everything. If this consists of a red and red, or this is a black and black, I lose the game. Fair? Okay?
Yeah.
It's getting crazier, right?
Right.
Okay. Deal 4 cards over here in a pile. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to say that those will consist of a club, a heart, a spade, and a diamond. All 4 suits will be there. I don't know what cards they'll be, but I have to be right on everything. Is this getting crazier?
You know what? The people of LA need your money. Yes.
I like your confidence.
Right.
4 more cards here, please. A different pile. 1, 2, 3, 4. And another pile with 4 cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to say that of these piles, they will all consist of all 4 suits, Mark and Alexis, a club, a heart, a spade, and a diamond. I have to be right. So we've got 3 piles here. I have to be right on everything.
Right.
So far, almost impossible. Yes?
The statistical unlikelihood of this is very high now.
Very high.
Very high.
Deal 2 cards to the side. This is going to be a side bet. Okay? And Alexis, I'm going to give these to you. Don't look at them. This is what we call our side bet. Just keep it here. I'm going to say those are going to be a red and a black. Okay?
Side bets are always sucker bets. Be careful with them.
It is a sucker bet. Deal 13 cards face down in a pile somewhere over here, please, my friend. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to say, Mark and Alexis, that this will consist of every single card ace through king. Not in order, but every card will be here ace through king. Is that getting crazier?
Now we're nearing virtual statistical impossibility.
Yeah. Deal the last 13 cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Perfect. I've been counting correctly. I'm going to say that all the cards here will consist of ace through king. Every single card will be there and I have to be right on everything, including the side bet. Is this about to get crazy? It's about to get Michigan here.
I mean, we're straight Michigan.
We're straight Michigan.
We're there. If you pull it off.
Let's take a look at this card. This
Red
should be
and
a
black.
red and black. Show me a red and a black.
I'll show you black and a second black.
We have a red and a black.
All right, well, close enough.
Show me a red and a black here. Red and a black. Show me a red and a black here. Red and a black. You want to show the camera?
No,
okay.
no, because so far it's going well for you. I'll show the camera when you get it wrong.
Great. Red and black here. Should be a red and a black. Red and a black. Show me a red and a black here, Mark.
That's all right. It's about to get to the hard one. This is just a lot of luck. What's about to happen is where the luck runs
Last
out.
red
Here
and
we go.
black.
And those are all four of those were in fact a red and a black.
So far, so good. This is where things get crazy. All four suits should be here. Make sure and verify. Can you actually give those to Alexis? Alexis, can you verify? How's your vision? There should be a
Good.
club, a heart, and a spade and a diamond.
Club. Yep.
Are they all there?
Yep.
They're all there. You want to show?
Got to put them down.
They're
to
all
prove
there.
it. Got to prove it.
Take a look at this pile. Should be a club, a heart, a spade, and a diamond.
Oh, see, this one doesn't have a heart.
Show me.
No, it does.
They're all there.
They're all there. That's right.
This should have a club, a heart, a spade, and a diamond.
You knew we were being set up, right?
I told you
Club,
that
a heart,
before.
spade, and a diamond. Yep, we're there.
But the side bet should be red and black. Let's take a look at it. Is it red and black?
It is red and black.
It is red and black. I'm going to give these to Mark, who's got the easier, better vision. Take these. Let's see if all the cards are there, ace through king. All should be here. I'll give these to Alexis. If you could maybe try and put them in order, ace through king. Every card should be there, ace through king. If I miss any one of these, I lose the bet, and I'm happy to give that money. Los Angeles Regional Food Bank. Ace through king. They're working hard here. How are we doing so far, Mark?
Well, it depends which part of we you're talking about. Your part of we is doing just fine.
Ace through king. Every single card should be there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
They're all here. Ace through king.
Ace through king.
However,
Yes.
Alexis is about to spoil this party. Go ahead, Alexis.
I don't think so.
We got all.
This is
ace through
collaborative.
king, too.
Are they all there?
Yeah.
Every single card ace through king is there.
They're all there.
But you know what?
Yeah.
First of all, you said it doesn't involve sleight of hand, which is shocking to me.
It doesn't.
I don't understand how that can happen without sleight of hand. I don't understand how any of this can happen even with sleight of hand. But that's amazing. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Her word was amazing. My word was amazing. And what a cool thing to be able to give $500 to the people in LA right now where it's
Love
very
what you
much
guys
needed.
do.
Very
Thank you.
Awesome.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to donate $500 too, and you have my word. So let's both make an impact and make a difference. Does that sound good?
I love it.
All right.
I love it.
Let's do what's right.
Do we have any questions?
No, we are being told to wrap it up.
Okay. Well, do you
Wait,
want?
yes. How do people listen?
Yeah.
People are going to listen to this. They're going to be like, I want this guy, right?
Yeah.
How do they find you? So if you look at that camera and tell the people there, the people of the world, maybe not the whole world, but part of the world, they want to know.
The Law and Love world.
That's
so
right.
Go to Red Rocks Magic. I've got a great show coming up in Sedona
Oh,
on
put the
January
mic
25th.
closer to your mouth. There you go.
Yep, January 25th, Red Rocks Magic. And you can get tickets. It's a 4 p.m. show. Doing some shows in Sedona. Also, my website is phoenixmentalist.com. So.
All right. So if they're watching this, when this thing blows up and Joe Rogan's like, man, we're number 2 now to Law and Love. When that all happens, but it's years down the road, that's the site to go to find out where you're at.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
inviting
for being
me.
here. That was great.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.